for the bye. And you have to find, I thought today could be a winnable ball game. But before we go, is this a safe place,
Always.
Joe? Can I say the loud part out? Can I say the quiet part out loud?
I'd love for you to.
Dak Prescott is playing like an MVP caliber player right now.
He certainly is.
He is playing like an MVP caliber player. I don't know what their playoff hopes may look like, but right now, he's earning that $60+ million salary that he is receiving. 4 touchdowns. I think he has 10 on the year, and he's been able to do it, not getting a lot of help from his defense. Dak Prescott is doing what Dak Prescott is supposed to do, and y'all might not want to say it, but like I said, Joe said this is a safe place.
So What's up, Cowboys fans? Welcome back to Dallas Insider, your home for the deeper conversations that go beyond the highlights and the hot takes. Today, we're diving into something rare, something you don't hear every day on national television, and it has everything to do with our quarterback, Dak Prescott. This morning on CBS Sport, something happened that caught everyone's attention. The panel had been talking about the Jets, about Aaron Glenn's struggles, about penalties and culture and coaching. But then the conversation turned toward Dallas. And for the first time in a long time, the tone shifted. They didn't roll their eyes at the Cowboys. They didn't blame Dak. They didn't point to his contract. They acknowledged reality. And then came that moment. A simple line, but one that hit every Cowboys fan right in the chest. Can I say the quiet part out loud? Dak Prescott is playing like an MVP caliber player right now. It's the kind of statement that doesn't just float in the air, it lands. Because when you followed this team as closely as we have, you know how rare that acknowledgement is. The national media, the same ones who've criticized Dak for years, who've questioned his leadership, who've said he can't win big games, they finally said it out loud. And let's be honest, they're right. Dak Prescott is playing MVP football right now. Think about what he's done. 10 touchdowns in 5 games, 4 in the last outing against the Jets. He's completing passes with precision, throwing off-platform lasers, commanding the pocket, and reading defenses like a seasoned surgeon. This isn't luck. This is mastery. He's elevating the players around him. Without CeeDee Lamb on the field, he's still finding ways to win, still making George Pickens look like a pro bowler, still keeping Jake Ferguson relevant in the red zone, still feeding Javonte Williams to keep defenses honest. And he's doing all of this with a defense that's been, let's call it what it is, a mess. A unit ranked near the bottom in almost every key category, yet Dak's composure hasn't cracked once. When the analyst said he's earning that $60 million salary, you could almost feel the collective sigh of every fan who's been defending this man for years, because that line, that acknowledgement, carries weight. It's more than stats, it's respect. Let's pause and understand how big this moment is. For years, national analysts have built an entire narrative around Dak being good, but not great. They've said things like, he needs everything perfect around him, or he's not elite without help. But now, those same analysts are being forced to look at the numbers, the film, and the leadership, and they can't deny it anymore. Dak Prescott is doing exactly what franchise quarterbacks are supposed to do, carrying his team when it needs him the most. And he's doing it the Cowboy way, quietly, confidently, without excuses. You can see it in his demeanor. He's not pounding his chest after every touchdown. He's not calling people out in press conferences. He's locked in, focused, leading by example. That's not just a quarterback. That's a field general. And that's what separates him from the rest. Now, from an insider perspective, let's break this down tactically. Brian Schottenheimer has retooled this offense over the past few weeks. He's found a rhythm that maximizes Dak's strengths. Quick reads, pre-snap control, layered route combinations that let him exploit defensive mismatches. It's not flashy, but it's efficient, and that's where Dak thrives. Against the Jets, he threw 4 touchdowns on just 29 attempts. That's insane efficiency. Every throw had purpose. Every drive had tempo. And his connection with Pickens is starting to look special. That 43-yard touchdown over Sauce Gardner wasn't just another highlight. It was a message. We can beat anyone, anywhere, anytime. And look at the offensive balance. Javonte Williams with 135 yards on the ground. Jake Ferguson emerging as a red zone killer. Ryan Flournoy adding over 100 receiving yards. That's not just Dak succeeding. That's Dak elevating everyone. When the quarterback is that confident, everyone around him plays freer, looser, better. You can feel that energy spreading through the sideline. But what makes this whole moment even more powerful is the emotional context. The analyst on CBS, he literally said he needed a safe space to admit what he was about to say. That's how controversial praising Dak has become in sports media. That right there shows how deep the bias runs. And yet, he said it anyway, because Dak's performance has made it undeniable. This is what we call a turning point, not just for Dak, but for how the Cowboys are perceived. The team that everyone loves to criticize suddenly has a quarterback being talked about in MVP conversations, not as a punchline, but as a legitimate contender. And if you're a Cowboys fan, this is your moment to stand tall. Because for years, we've watched Dak get blamed for things out of his control. Coaching inconsistencies, defensive collapses, injuries to key players, even media narratives that have nothing to do with what happens on the field. But now, the tape doesn't lie, the numbers don't lie, and even the critics are starting to change their tune. He's playing smarter football. He's trusting his reads. He's spreading the ball efficiently. He's eliminating turnovers. And most importantly, he's leading. This is what franchise quarterback play looks like. And the timing couldn't be better. The Cowboys are sitting at 2-5, still alive in the NFC, with a schedule that opens up in the coming weeks. The Commanders, the Panthers, the Broncos, all winnable games. You win 2, maybe 3 in that stretch, and suddenly Dallas is right back in playoff contention. That's how fast the NFL shifts. That's how powerful momentum can be. And now that the national media is finally saying the quiet part out loud, that Dak Prescott is playing like an MVP, that belief spreads. It hits the locker room, it hits the coaching staff, and it hits every Cowboys fan across the country. You can feel it. The energy is changing. And you know what I love most? Dak didn't need a viral quote to get this respect. He earned it through consistency, through preparation, and through professionalism. When the defense failed him, he didn't point fingers. When the receivers dropped passes, he didn't throw tantrums. He just kept working. That's what real leadership looks like. That's what being the face of the franchise means. So here's the big picture, Cowboys Nation. This isn't just another ESPN soundbite. This is the start of a narrative shift. The same network that spent years questioning Dak's ceiling just called him MVP caliber. That's seismic. Because once that door opens, once the national conversation starts to change, the respect follows, the recognition grows. And for Dak Prescott, that could be the moment that finally turns perception into legacy. He's earned it. And we, as Cowboys fans, should stand behind him now more than ever, because this man's not just playing quarterback, he's defining what resilience looks like. So let's say it clearly. Dak Prescott is that guy. He's leading this team through adversity, he's playing with precision and passion, and he's proving, not just to ESPN, not just to critics, but to the football world, that he belongs in the MVP conversation. So Cowboys Nation, I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you believe Dak Prescott deserves MVP consideration right now? Has the national media finally caught up to what we've known all along? Let's make this conversation loud, because for the first time in a long time, it feels like the respect is real. If you believe in Dak, if you believe in this team, and if you believe that this is the start of something special, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with Dallas Insider all season long, because this season isn't over. The critics are watching, the league is noticing, and Dak Prescott, he's just getting started. One team, one voice, one star. This is Dallas Insider. Let's ride.